Was it Arsenal has visit Rwanda? We've got visit Delco.
Yeah. Welcome to More Philly Union, the podcast where we swear to talk about the Philly Union, the whole Philly Union, and nothing but the Philly Union with as few digressions as possible. We are your hosts. I'm E.
I'm Paul.
And we're flying without a C today. So we're going to be making this one a little bit quick, a lunchtime podcast episode. So let's get right to it. Quick housekeeping news. The Help Us Help the You challenge is going strong. So just a reminder, our goal is to reach 1,000 downloads. The sooner, whenever we reach those 1,000 downloads, we're going to be making a donation to the Philly Union Society. Foundation. I don't know why I cannot remember that. Yeah. So anyway, we have 32 downloads since last week, which is kind of huge since we've posted late last week.
Friday.
Yeah. So that's awesome. Special big shout out to Oregon, who somebody out there really likes us because they downloaded 13 different episodes of our podcast just since last night.
Oregon.
Thank you, Oregon. So yeah, we're getting there.
That bounced them up into number 3 or 4 in
I think they're number 3 just here in the US, because surprisingly enough, Delaware also a huge download source. So thank you, Delaware, and Virginia too. Virginia's always there in the running. So yeah, we should do like a little supporter challenge, and I don't know, something for each state. Help your state get the most downloads. Come on, let's go. So yeah, thank you. We're getting there. It's going to be close. It's going to be close. Kind of like the season for the Union. It's going to be close. So right. Thank you for your support. So we got 2 games to quickly review. And they're both kind of a whole lot of nothing. I don't know. First one was LAFC, big old 0-0 draw.
I mean, this one, everybody was kind of lining it up as a rematch of the MLS Cup, the greatest MLS Cup of all time. I mean, if I didn't hear that half a dozen times, during the broadcast, I would have been surprised.
I think everyone's bingo card, right? That was the one right in the middle, just the rematch of the MLS Cup.
Yeah, and it did look like it was going to be like it could have been a good game. Like, these teams are playing well. LA, they've been in the competitions. They knocked the Union out of the the CONCACAF Champions League. There's some good, good fight between these sets of players. Unfortunately, we didn't seem to see that on the field on Saturday.
Yeah. I mean, I was happy in the lineups, at least with the Union. The Triangle of Death was back in full force, right? Yep. Or Carranza and Gazdag were there. Unfortunately, no Glesnes.
He's injured.
His
Iron Man streak ended at 101 or 102.
Yeah, which is a real bummer. Real bummer. But so we were building a pretty solid squad. For me.
When we talked about this, we were thinking, what were 3 things that we liked about it? And I have to say, Damian Lowe really showed in this game, stepping into Glesnes' spot.
And those are literally big shoes to fill.
Big Viking shoes to fill.
Yeah.
Lowe had been worrying me the last few weeks. Playing in that 3-back or 5-back formation, he looked shaky. But playing in a 4-4-2 that the Union play with 2 center backs. I don't know if that's just more comfortable for him.
Yeah.
Playing on that side was more comfortable for him, or what the situation was, but he just really did a great job in this game.
Yeah. He's kind of like that, the baby bird out of the nest. Some games he's strong, some games he's a little shaky, makes it nervous. And I agree. This is definitely a game where he seems to be getting comfortable in that center back position.
I think he was on the right side in this one.
Was he on the right side? I thought, I'm getting confused maybe with the Dallas game then, because I know he was in the center back for the Dallas game.
Well, no, he was the right center back.
That's right.
Both of these games, whereas Elliott plays the left center back. And when they play in that 3-man formation, Glesnes is in the right, Elliott's in the middle and Lowe's out on the left. So it might be, and I don't know why, but it might just be the shift to the right is more comfortable for Lowe. I'm not sure about that because there were games early in the season where Lowe just looked dominant playing on that left side.
Yeah.
Either way, I have to commend him for the game, and I'm hoping that that's what we're going to see from the rest of Lowe. You know, what we're going to see out of Lowe for the rest of the time that he plays for the Union. He did a great job there.
I was hoping the weather was on our side because I think if I remember correctly, the weather was kind of rough that day.
It was a nor'easter.
Yeah, right. It was pretty cold, and at one point during the match, you could hear Taylor Twellman like commenting on the game, and it sounded like he was talking through a scarf. I got to imagine, because they sit up there in the booth and they usually have the windows open. And I'm sure it sounded like he was pretty well bundled. But the weather didn't really break the deadlock between the two teams. We did, the one hair I'll split, right, is we managed to get the ball into the back of their net.
Yes, we did.
And it was pretty exciting, right? Because Haribo had that header that went off the crossbar. Or was right there, put in the net, and for like a good 20 seconds, we were rejoicing as if we were up 1-0. But VAR called. I think Ora was pretty much offside on that one.
Yeah,
but
I can't remember if that was Ora or Gazdag that put the header in.
It was Ora who put it in. Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah.
It was. I agree. It was a shame to have that one disallowed, but. It was the right call. But other than that, like the ideas were a little lacking on front of the Union. But as I was watching the game, I was like, it sucked. It would suck to draw this one. But if this means that the Union defense is now locking it down and holding some shutouts, like they say, defense wins championships. If you don't, and also if you never give up a goal, you never lose a game.
This is also true.
If that's where the Union were to be shifting and concentrating, all right, look, we're not going to win the Supporters Shield. Let's concentrate on getting our defense in shape and rounding them all into shape before the end of the season, so that when we hit the postseason, we're just a monster to beat on defense. I'd be all for that.
Yeah, it's an interesting point. That's a real interesting point. Yeah, it's be an interesting strategy. We're gonna turn this into a grind now for everybody. And
especially since it seems like people want to just get chippy with the Union and bark at the referee every time there's any sort of contact and fake it if not. And it's like, hey, if that's how they're going to play, then fine. We're just going to make it impossible for them to get a decent chance. Because I got to imagine Blake was pretty bored in this LAFC.
I think so. Yeah.
I think they had 2 shots total.
Yeah.
One of them on target. I don't remember exact numbers. I could look it up, I suppose. I probably should, since we're putting together a podcast.
We do have a little bit of responsibility in that department now. Although I think one big stat was from the game was the amount of reading that Blake was able to catch up on during the game. So
at War and Peace, never stood a chance.
So LAFC, a big old 0-0 with a little star. We did get the ball in the net, but it was rightfully didn't count. So
outside of our hearts.
Exactly. So fast forward to Wednesday night, where the Union then hosted Dallas. I think we're a little bit more optimistic in this one. I think we were hoping for, this would be the beginning of our kind of a strong finish to the season.
Especially since Dallas was in 9th or 8th or 9th place.
Yeah, exactly.
In the West.
But they showed up. They would not go quiet into that night. This game was definitely more exciting. A couple things to note. Bedoya got his 200th regular season start.
Awesome.
Jordan, Blake, and Gaddis is the only other Union members who have more than 200 regular season starts.
Definitely feels like those 3 names are going into the Ring of Honor as soon as they won.
Yeah. I think that's the safe bet with those 3 right there. Lineup wise, Martinez is out. I think we're dealing with some injuries now, right? Martinez is out. Was it a hamstring? Was that what?
It was either hamstring or knee. I can't remember which they said.
Glesnes is out still. Yep. And I think they said that might also be a sports hernia.
I believe that's what they said.
Yeah. Because that's also what Flock is dealing with, who was also out.
Yes.
And Carranza was out. And that was the only thing they said. And like you said, Paul, we have a responsibility now to do homework since we're running a podcast. So therefore I didn't do my homework, but they did mention that Carranza has concussion protocol. So that's, so I guess
he took a heavy hit in the LAFC game, which eventually led him to come off the field. And when they do that, when he take a hit to the head, it was Aaron Logg's elbow to his head in like the second minute. That was what split Carranza's.
That's right.
At the time they put him through the concussion protocol. He passed all the tests, and they put him on the field, but he wasn't quite acting right. So when they put him back at I think he was a halftime sub, because when he came off the field at one point, he said something, and I think he said it's a curtain that he was feeling dizzy. And as soon as you say that, you're done. That's the end of your game. And rightly they're putting, they want to give him time to heal up. Concussions are funny. They take whatever time they take to heal, but hopefully it's a couple of weeks, and they can, there's a whole progression. For those who haven't gone through coach training, there's actually a whole progression after a concussion. After you go symptom free, there's a progression on getting back into play. And if you ever have I think there's a 7-step progression. One, you have to be symptom free, and then you slowly increase physical activity up until you resume full action. And if you ever, along that progression, if you ever experience symptoms, you have to stop again until you are symptom free, and then start over from the previous step. So they're going to be very, very cautious about the concussion protocol, because like we were saying earlier, it's pretty clear that the Union are not going to be winning the Supporters Shield this year. Securing second place in the East is still a possibility.
Still doable.
But I think more important, they want to be ready for the postseason. If that means that they have to sit Carranza for the final 4 games, they should do that.
I think that's a good point, right? I'd rather go into the playoffs at full strength than tapping ourselves out just to get us high up the table, and then we're out that first playoff game.
Especially since Carranza has been the main threat up top. We talked about a couple of points for each of these games, and I feel like one of them has to be like just the lack of production from Aura this whole season. I hate to say it, because when he's on, he's really, really good.
That speed is unmatched.
He's dangerous. He's physical, but he's just been, his touch, his play in the box just hasn't been there this season.
So this Dallas game, right? We're kind of starting off with less than an ideal lineup. The game was a more exciting game. So the game was a 1-1 draw. So let's just get that out of the way right up front. But the Union did score first, and I got to say, that was a fantastic goal.
It's nice of a pass as Wagner put in for Gazdag on that one game where Gazdag ended up hurting his knee and scoring. This was beyond highlight reel pass from Wagner. And then that settle from Sullivan. Gosh.
Exactly. Him settling that ball set up that goal.
Well, him making that run set up that goal. Then
Wagner Blake getting the ball to Wagner.
Wagner getting his head up. See, 50 yards downfield between 2 defenders who are 12 yards apart is Sullivan making a run. And if I split them just right, just like so many 1,000,000-to-1 shots in that progression. And it was so much fun to watch.
It was. I mean, kudos. Again, Wagner just placing that ball exactly where it needed to be. Sullivan with 2 defenders on him, just to bring the ball down. The ball moved just the right way. We got that goal. It was very encouraging. It
was a class pass, and it was a class finish from 2 young players in the Union squad.
Yeah.
Certainly was well earned, well run, I don't know that it was something that they had set up off field, pre-training stuff, but they made the right runs, and they took advantage of the opportunity.
Yeah.
And no fault to Dallas. I mean, it's not like Dallas's players were terribly out of position. It was just a couple of amazing performances from the Union players, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I think, in this game as a whole, the Union, Dallas and the Union, they seemed fairly well matched, right? They were able to counterattack against the other. Yeah, unfortunately, and our little 1-goal lead only lasted 11 minutes. And Velasco made a really, really, I hate to say it, really pretty goal. Just this low, waist-high bullet of a shot, right, from outside the box, and equalizes. I do have a question. Aside from that goal, did something else happen? Because Velasco was getting booed nonstop. Am I missing something, or is it just?
I'm not sure if there's some history, but I know I was feeling very frustrated at him all game long.
Yeah.
Because anytime he got touched, he'd go down. Anytime he got touched, with any sort of, aggression, he would writhe on the ground like he had been poleaxed.
That's right. There was a comment too. I think the announcer said something about the Oscar being out. Did someone is there an Oscar?
So there's a pair of twins on the southern side of the stadium. They sit down field side. They're pretty much right next to the visiting team's bench. And they're big guys. And every now and then when a guy's rolling around, they'll stand up and they have a little Oscar statue.
That's awesome.
They hold out. And it's hysterical when they're there, when they bring that out. Yeah, they actually did cut to them at one point. They had a camera on them.
That's like some of the announcers made that comment. I was confused at first, and I replayed it, and I was like, oh, they're actually talking about fans awarding an Oscar for that performance.
I just real quick before we get off of Velasco there, because like I said, he did play act a lot, and I get that in certain countries that is part of the game.
Okay.
That is, it's seen as, hey, you're doing whatever you can to help your team get the ball up the field, get an opportunity to score, get a foul, draw a foul. That's seen as heroic action. And so I would love it if MLS decided, you know what, VAR is now going to be used on any sort of reactions like this to determine if a yellow card on the player acting is warranted. Like, to cut out some of the BS, just the writhing on the ground for no legitimate reason. I mean, obviously, it's going to be hard to do as a VAR, but there are times where there's literally no contact and a player will drop and grab his face like he's been, smacked upside the head. It's like, I think that would be absolutely fair for VAR to review that and then call down and say, hey, you missed it. There was no contact at all. This player should be yellow carded. And I think we would see a lot of this cut out.
Well, I think, it's almost like we need to expand the authority, the scope of the simulation, right? So if you dive, right, you can get a card for that. Now we need to kind of expand the domain over which that could get applied. However, in a little tongue in cheek here, I could see like now team staffs being made up. You got your head coach, you have your goalkeeper coach, and now you'll have your acting coach, right? So if you make a better mousetrap, we'll just make better mice, right? So it'll be like Velasco. Now, I just didn't believe you when you were grabbing your knee. You have to convince me. You have to channel that. I agree with you, Paul. I'm all for doing whatever it takes to win the game to help your team, but there is a line, right? I mean, in the sense of like to do it in an honest way versus a dishonest way, right? And that's kind of where this is at, and it's kind of like, it's one thing if like, and I'm just quoting the letter of the law, not the spirit here, but like when oh my gosh, what's his name? The biter from what's that? Suarez, right? When he during the World Cup, he committed that foul and he got the red card. When there was I forget who they were playing, but they just had an open attempt on goal, and it's quote unquote the professional foul. He took the red card, right? People were upset. I didn't think that was a cool thing to do, but you know what? He didn't do anything underhanded. He kind of took one for the team and got sent off the field to prevent this scoring opportunity. This is beyond that, right? This is like now you're just being
ruining the game.
You're being dishonest. Exactly.
Yeah.
So interesting. So, there was another interesting goal scoring opportunity there in the second half. Areola, the ball was weird. The ball was bobbling in front of the net and he was falling, and he landed on the ball, but then he got up real quick and put it in. And when VAR, when they replayed it, you can clearly see the ball hitting his arm as he's falling. It kind of helped trap it in front of him and all that. So,
but I feel like both the goals that Dallas scored showed just a trouble that the Union defense had clearing the ball.
Yeah.
Like even the first goal that Velasco scored in the first half, they moved it down the Union right side. And bounced, played it through a couple of different players. Eventually it found Velasco near the top of the box. And like you said, it was a really nice shot. It sucked for the Union, but it was a really nice shot. The Union felt like they had at least 2 or 3 opportunities to put that ball out of play, to make a play, touch the ball, get it away from the defender, and they didn't take it. And then this second one with Areola, which, was called back for a handball.
We were lucky.
Similar.
Yeah.
Like Glesnes is right there, or not Glesnes, Elliott's right there. The other tall blonde guy that plays defense for the Union. Like they were there. There's an opportunity that they could have cleared it out. It kind of even going back further, it was like Bedoya and Miram when Miram scored for.
Oh, that was the
Charlotte.
No, it was not Charlotte. It was. Oh my gosh. Once
Where's
again,
Justin
Paul, we're
Miram
not doing
playing?
our homework.
Yeah. I can't remember if it was Cincinnati or whatever. But whatever, it was once again just a failure to clear the ball.
Yeah.
Sometimes, not all the time, and don't get me wrong, I definitely prefer when defenders play the ball out of pressure, and I think the Union have gotten much better about that.
Yeah.
But there is a time where the first instinct to put the ball out of the box is the right one.
Yeah, exactly.
And it felt like both of these goals, one of them that got called back for Dallas, were situations where the Union just needed to get the ball out of the box.
Yeah.
Now, that said, I mean, the Union, they played very well in the first half. That pass and that goal, that score was amazing.
Yeah.
But I'll be honest, I fell asleep during the second half. It was, I get up early. It was late. So,
past our bedtimes.
I was comfortable. I was under a Union blanket. It was nice and warm, but still, just to play once again, it felt like a different game, a game of two halves. They did against Cincinnati, and it was not, I don't know, for whatever reason, the second half in both of these games did not favor the Union.
Yeah. Other note, there was it feels like there's a lot more yellow cards in this game. Bizo got a yellow card. Bueno got a yellow card. I didn't keep strict records, but there were a lot of yellow cards flying around this game. So it kind of, it was a little bit of a chippy game in that respect. But one last little thing I want to comment about this game, which was kind of really nice to see, was on the electronic marquee ad boards around the stadium were ads for Visit Delco, Delaware County. Cool. And I was like, that is awesome. So Delco, which is definitely a part of the whole greater Philadelphia tapestry. And I don't know if they started like a tourism board ad campaign, but they had these awesome Visit Delco ads going around the field. So that was really awesome to see,
Was it Arsenal has Visit Rwanda? We've got Visit Delco.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was awesome.
Good for them. Yeah. That's awesome. I hope it draws in some more tourism.
Yeah. So that was our 2 games, both draws, kind of a little bit, anemic kind of results, nothing bad, but nothing good. We did move up into 3rd place. We're at 50 points. We have 50 points. We got 4 games left, right? 2 home, 2 away. All the games are against playoff teams or playoff contending teams. Next weekend coming up, we got Columbus. Next week, we got who's in 4th place. Week after that, or Wednesday, we got Atlanta. the week from this coming Saturday is Nashville, who's in 7th place, and they have not qualified at this time for the playoffs. So they're right there at that line.
The spot yet.
Yeah. So, if they haven't locked it up by then, they're just going to be playing with that much more of an edge. Mm-hmm. And then our last game is away at New England, who's in 6th place right now and has also locked up the playoffs. So
it's interesting that Atlanta, New England, and Columbus, who we all play, all 3 of them we play, are only 1 point behind us in the standings, and all of them are tied in 49 points. So it's a real bloodbath here in the East.
It's packed so tight, right? Tighter than an Arsenal jersey, right? Between 2nd and whatever 6th place. So a win makes all the difference at this point. So the question is, are the Union, are we going to get 2nd place? We were looking at the numbers, right? We literally, if we even want to consider the idea of the supporter shield, we have to win every single game from here on out. And Cincinnati has to lose every game from here on out.
Not just not win, they have to lose.
They have to lose. And it'll be a tie, and then it's going to come down whatever the next metric is that separates teams from whatever.
Once again, we just didn't do the reading because we know that's not going to happen. Cincinnati is going to get some points in the last 4 games or last 3 games for them.
Yeah, pretty much Cincinnati just needs to win one more game and they lock it up.
Yep,
they lock it up.
That's amazing.
Because St. Louis is still sitting there in 1st place in the West, but again, I think they're of similar mathematics, right? Where it requires basically once Cincinnati wins 1 game, they got it. And congratulations to Philadelphia West when they do it, or the Union West. But so Columbus coming up on Saturday. It's
gonna be a tough one.
Yeah.
Hani Mukhtar is no joke, and the team behind him is playing very, very good soccer. So
and we're going to be on their turf. So they always have a very strong supporter turnout. And especially now as we get to this point in the season, I expect it'll be very black and yellow there.
I expect so.
And then we'll also have to see about our injuries. Like maybe I'm hopeful, like going through the concussion protocol, Paul, that you talked about. I really hope Carranza is moving up that 7-point scale or whatever it is.
Martinez, it would be good to see hear some developments there. I also haven't heard anything about Flock for the last week.
I haven't either. Yeah. We'll have to do a little bit of research. We'll have to get Christy on that. She's very good at the the social media and stuff like that. We'll have to see what Scoops is up to these days.
Get her on that one. Is following Carranza, so she might be able to get us an update on that one.
All of her browser tabs that have the word Carranza in it. So
exactly.
But okay, so that's what we're staring at. We're getting near the end of the season. It's going to be here really quick. So it's going to be a pretty interesting. It's going to be a very packed schedule. These next, it's over in 3 weeks. Our last game is 3 weeks. We got 4 games. It's going to be a haul.
Good luck.
Yeah,
definitely wishing for the best, though.
Yeah, so every win we get now, it's going to be that much more. It's going to be that much sweeter. So let's do it. Quick little last tidbits. Last night was also the final to the U.S. Open Cup. It was Houston versus I almost said Miami less Messi, but a Messi less Miami. I don't. Maybe the results might have still been the same. I don't know.
Miami, they played in Miami.
They played in Miami, and Houston emerged as the victors. So
good for Houston.
Someone finally put the drew some blood against this. I don't know, this runaway train that is Miami. I don't know. I'm sure people will argue if Messi wasn't there, blah, 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 blah. Right. But I don't know, a little shot in Florida. I was kind of glad to see Houston. I was glad to see US Open Cup and the color orange. That's and not right. Flamingo pink or whatever that is.
You play the team that's on the field, and Houston got the win. So congrats to them.
Yeah. So I've still got 3 weeks, 4 games left. So it's going to get pretty intense.
Absolutely.
All right. Anything else?
Nope. Not this week.
All right. Well, hey, this was a quick one. Yeah, things are kind of just a little busy, and so we were doing what we can. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for supporting us. Feel free to check out our website at amorephillyunion.com. Definitely drop us a line. What do you think is going to happen with the end of the season? What do you want to see? Are we going to finish in second? Are we going to miraculously get the supporter shield? As much as I'd like to see it, I'm not going to wager a cup of coffee on that. But hey, share your thoughts. So drop us an email at pod@amorephillyunion. Check out all of our social stuff at X, formerly Twitter, is amorephillyu, Instagram, YouTube, Threads. We are a More Philly Union. We got that Spotify playlist, and we've been now including that link in our posts. So wherever you get your podcasts and stuff like that, there should be a link in there somewhere. You can definitely find us on the Podbean page as well, and it's there. So yeah, keep downloading us wherever you get your podcasts. Side note, I heard Google Podcasts is going away. I literally got an email like yesterday about it. I have to look into it. Maybe it was spam. I don't know, but it seemed legit. So we'll jump off that bridge when we get there. So yeah, keep downloading us. Again, the sooner we get to that 1,000, when we get to that 1,000, we're going to make our donation to the Philly Union Society Foundation. I will learn this someday. So yeah, so subscribe, like, comment, all those fun things, spread the word. Yeah, and thanks for tuning in for another episode of A More Philly Union. We are your duo hosts this week. I'm E.
And I'm Paul. Go Union!
Go Union!
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.